Hello and welcome to your next C Sharp XNA platformer tutorial. And the last tutorial was really kind of boring and vague. We didn't really see any results. But in this tutorial, we're going to be creating the Sprite Sheet animation class, and yeah, we'll move on from there. So I don't know if you want to call it Sprite Sheet animation or SS animation. I'll just call it Sprite Sheet animation. So we're creating our sprite sheet animation class, and we're going to derive from the animation class. Okay. So we got our framework and we got our content. Okay. So we're gonna say public void override. No, sorry. What am I doing? Public override void load content, and we gotta include graphics. Sorry. So we can erase this right here, and we got the rest in there. So we loaded in our we're gonna load in our content, override void unload content. And what happened here? Okay, so we unload the content. Oh, what is going on? Oh, because I forgot a semicolon, that's why. uh no. Okay, and last but not least, we need to do public override void draw. Okay, so for the we need to add in some personal variables, like in our some private variables in here. So our private variables are gonna be a frame counter. We'll say switch frame. Uh, what else are we gonna have? Not sure, but we'll add this in after. So we're gonna set our frame counter equal to 0, and our switch frame uh equal to, I guess, 100. Okay. So for now, what we're gonna do in the update is we're gonna say that if is active, then we do something else, then we'll just set frame counter equal to 0. So we're gonna say if is active, frame counter is gonna be plus equals to game time. Sorry, game time, elapsed game time total. We'll say total milliseconds. Okay, so we're gonna say that if frame counter is greater than or equal to switch frame, then we're gonna set frame counter equal to 0, and then we're going to frame counter int. Okay, so what we need to do is this is gonna let us know that we're going to switch the frame. So whenever the frame counter equals is greater than or equal to switch frame, that means we have to switch the frame. So before we even continue, what we're gonna do is we're going to look at our image. Okay, so site I made this from is, I believe, Famitsu, Famitsu, and I don't know if it's a Japanese or Chinese website, but it's a Sprite Generator, and I will put the link in the description. If I forget, then please let me know in the comments below, but I'll try to remember. So I have the spreadsheet right now. Now we don't need the down animation, we don't need the up animation. It's a platform, right? It's on an RPG. So we only need these two right here. So we could, if we wanted to, there's different things you can do. You could crop out this image if you wanted to. You could keep the whole image, right? For now, I'm just going to keep the whole image, but we gotta specify we gotta know what we're drawing, like which ones we're gonna draw, whether it be left, right, etc., etc. But we need to know the relative points that we need in order to draw. So how are we gonna do this? Well, with what we're going to do by we're going to set a vector 2. We're gonna have a vector 2, and we're gonna say let's see, let's say dimensions. No, actually, we'll say frames. And by default, we'll say that the frames is equal to, so let's look at this image. By default, we say the frames is equal to 3 by 4. So if your image is like a long strip of different things, you could just say your frames are by like 1 by like 10 by 1 or whatever, right? It's up to you, but right now we'll just say our frames are 3 by 4. That's our image, okay? And whatever your it is, you could set the default to something else, but for our default it's going to be 3 4. And we're going to make it that the user can, we're going to make a property, so we'll say vector 2f frames, and we'll make it so that they can set a new value for it. So if they don't want it to be if it's not like that, but we just have a default value for the frames. So we also need another vector 2, and we'll call it current frame, and we'll say current frame is equal to 0 0, I guess. So if we take a look at our image again, okay, uh it scroll, depending on the image, we scroll through the image according to like the x coordinate. So we'll scroll, if we're going down, it'll draw this image, then it'll draw the second image and the third image, and scroll back to the beginning again, and so on and so forth. So this is how we're going to calculate the current frame. So if current frame y is equal to 0, then it's drawing the down animation. If current frame y is equal to 1, it's drawing the left animation. If current frame y is right, they're pressing the right button, then it's going to draw the, if current frame is equal to 2, sorry, then it means it's drawing the right animation. If current frame y is equal to 3, it means it's drawing the up animation, okay? Depending on the player's input, we're going to modify the current frame as well. And we're going to do that by, we're going to create another vector 2 property, and we'll say current frame. And we'll say set current frame equal to value. Okay, so we're gonna say that if the switch frame is equal to whatever, if they say it's greater than or equal to switch frame, then we'll say current frame dot x plus equals to we'll say plus plus. Now, to make your code a bit more flexible, or to accommodate for different types, you might want to set it that the kind of the origin. So whether it is if it scrolls to the x-axis or whether it scrolls vertically. And like I explained before, say for example that it wasn't like this, so it never went from this image to this image to this image. What if it started from this image and went to this one, then to this one, then that one to do one animation, and the next animation was vertical, and so on and so forth. Right now we're just assuming that the origin is horizontal, but the origin might be vertical. So it's up to you if you want to add in that functionality to set the origin, and then you can check from the origin if it is vertical or horizontal. But for all the sprite sheets that I'm going to be using, they're all going to be horizontal, and I'm not going to, I guess we'll add in that functionality later, but for now I won't add it in. It's up to you whether you want to add it in or not. So for now we're just going to increase current frame by 1. And we're going to say that if current frame dot x is greater than or equal, no, current frame dot x times frame width, and we're going to have to calculate that, is greater than or equal to image dot width, then we have to set current frame dot x equal to 0. Okay? So what is the frame width? So we got to say public int frame width and we need to have frame height. So we'll say that the frame width and the frame height. So we'll say return image dot width divided by frames. Why won't it work? Yeah, frames dot x. And for the frame height, oh, it should be integer. Cast it to an integer. Oh, because it doesn't have a get. It doesn't have a get accessor, so we gotta put a get for there too. So we have to say return frames. But actually, we shouldn't have to do that because we have our frames variable in lowercase within the class. Yeah, so we don't really need to do that. So we'll say get return image dot height divided by int frames dot y. Okay. So we got our frame width and our frame height. I'm almost I'm getting over my time, so to quickly end it, and we'll explain it more in depth uh, in the next tutorial. But to end the update, so we got our current frame x set. So all we gotta do is take our source rect, set it equal to new rectangle, current frame dot x times frame width, current frame dot y times frame height. And then we got to say the width and the height is equal to frame width, frame height. And so we got our source rectangle and such set. So we got to cast these to integers since these are floating point values or double values. I think it's floating point values. And then our draw will be exactly the same as our regular draw command. So I don't even think we need to override this. We really don't. We're not adding anything to our draw command. So that is how we're going to be updating in our sprite sheet animation, and we'll get more in depth into it in future tutorials. But I hope this doesn't confuse you. If it did, then just watch my C# XNA sprite animation tutorials, and this I should be able to clarify this more. It should be able to help you open your eyes to it on what's actually going on. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and bye.